Hey y'all, I am Tierra Burns, and if you do not know, I am doing a series on rest. I just finished part 2 and I'm jumping straight into part 3. And I am a licensed therapist in 5 states: Georgia, California, North Carolina, Texas, and Florida. I am preparing for sessions right now, which is why my face is half done. But we're going to finish it on this video as I talk about rest in the Black church. Because oftentimes in a pulpit, you hear you have to keep going, you have to push through. Works without faith is dead. Those that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength like an eagle. They'll run up and not be weary. They'll walk and not faint. It's all these scriptures to push, keep going, keep going, keep going. And we rarely, if ever, hear take a rest. I think I might have been maybe 20 or 21 when I learned what maybe 20 or 21 when I learned what sabbatical was. What a sabbatical rest was in the church. And I've been in church all my life. No pastor that I've been under ever took a sabbatical, where they were just able to rest, rejuvenate, come back, and have a fresh word, until I was around 2021. I really want people to understand that pushing through, working hard does not exclude resting. That resting is a part of that pushing through process. Like, perseverance includes resting. And I'm not talking about resting as in giving up. I think sometimes people don't preach resting, or they look at resting as if like you're going to give up if you do it. But it's not that. Resting is literally a strategy to help you preserve yourself to do what God is calling you to do. Does that make sense, y'all? Like, rest literally is a strategy that helps preserve you to do what God is calling you to do. That is one of the purposes of resting. Not just and not resting just in the sense of sleeping or not showing up, but rest as in the sense of being recharged, rejuvenated, revived. One of the scriptures that I really like when it comes to rest, because when Jesus made that statement, "I am who I am," he was able to rest in that. That all the titles, the accolades, the miracles, the things he did, he didn't have to make that or those things his sole identity. But just in his being was enough for him to rest. Because a lot of people don't rest because they feel like they need to prove in their doing. A lot of people don't rest because they're not comfortable in their being. And Jesus gave us a prime example that when you're comfortable in your being, when you're comfortable in your heart posture within yourself and not just focus on your hand and your brain, you are able to rest. The other thing is that rest requires presence. I talked in the last video that rest isn't just sleeping. And people fail to understand that rest is something that is not performative, right? So resting is literally being present in the rest that you're in. So whatever you are doing to recharge, you are present and grounded in that, where you're not even thinking of outside things or problems, because you're able to rest in the thing that you are doing to go back later and do the work. Like, rest is such a huge phenomenon that I think we kind of skip over, and we teach in a way, we teach the flock in a way that creates people that will burn out and will stay busy in the sake of, I need y'all to do this work. And we'll also weaponize on the same people who want to do the work for whatever reason, and they will become overworked because, yes, it needs to be done, but that doesn't mean it has to be you. Because if one of the things that I live by is, if God did not call me, or if God did not lead me to do it, I am not doing it, because that is out of the will of God for my life. That's my mindset, though. Even within ministries, if God did not tell me to join that ministry, I'm not joining that ministry. Because sometimes we join ministries and we're doing it because we want to be helpful, but we're really distractions. We're not meaning to be distractions, but we're really distracted because we're not supposed to be in that ministry. Rest requires you to be a steward. We often talk about stewardship in the lens or the context of finance, but you also need to steward the way you are resting and how you are resting and when you are resting, to ensure that you rest and not burn out and not get depleted and be ready to quit because you didn't rest. Like, what I love about God, I love about the Bible, is like everything's like literally interconnected. Like, it's like, okay, stewardship is not just about finances. It's also about rest. It's about your relationships. It's about how you take care of yourself. It's about even going to therapy. It's stewarding the body, the mind that God gave you. Rest is a part of pressing and pushing through and running your race. That is not a sprint, it's a marathon. But even athletes have to rest. Even like you have to rest after, like, in order to be a successful marathon runner. It will require you to rest your muscles, rest your mind, even physically sleep. Rest. It requires rest. Because what I see a lot of is we're using exhaustion as a way to feel like we are, or like we have endurance. Like because I am exhausted, that lets me know. Like, that's like your identity marker that you're running this race with endurance. But people with endurance on the track, when you have high endurance, like a lot of endurance on the track, and you can run those long distance, you're not exhausted. You might be exhausted at the end. Okay, like, I ain't even gonna hold y'all. When I ran track, and I was a sprinter. But when they put me in that long distance, I was tired a quarter within that. Like, I was tired. Now, in the military, when I was in the military, I had more endurance. I had worked up my ability to run longer because the military required us to run longer, right? So with that, we ran 2 miles. However, in training, we may have ran or marched or whatever 6 to 9, sometimes 12 miles, sometimes 16. We did a lot. So that 2 miles was nothing. I was tired at the end. I was tired at the end, but not to the point of I'm going to die of exhaustion, because that's not endurance. One of the scriptures that we already said when it comes to rest, when we do talk about rest though, is God rested on the 7th day. And he did. And I love that we bring that scripture out. The thing that always confused me is that he rested on the 7th day, and he said that everything he created, God said everything he created was good. He didn't stress it. He didn't worry about it. He didn't even think, oh, what do I need to do tomorrow? Until the next day when he made Adam. Rest requires you to also be okay and be content with what you have accomplished until you begin to work again. I'm going to say it again. Rest requires you to be content with what you have done until you choose to get up and work again. Content, not complacent, content. Rest also allows you to be content with the progress of whatever it is that you are trying to do. Because a lot of times people aren't content with their work. It's always this need to do more. It's always this need to be more. It's always this need to show up in a way like somebody else. Comparison. It's always this, I want something and I want it now. But rest is also saying, like, I'm on this journey. I see progress. And I am content with the progress. But I'm not going to get complacent and stay here. But I can rest that I am still journeying, traveling, navigating my life to where I desire to be. That is rest. As soon as we accept that God is going to love us even while we rest, that we will be accepted even when we rest, that we will not be abandoned, rejected, or we don't have to have this fear that people will forget about us and not see us or understand our greatness because we decided to rest, or that we will be replaced because we decided to rest. The sooner your body will be able to rest. Your perspective, your ideology, your thoughts, what you're telling yourself about rest and how you may be perceived if you rest is what's stopping you from resting. The way you interpret what's being preached in the pulpit is also stopping you from resting. Especially if you believe that you can't say no. If you believe that you have to say yes to everything that's asked of you. You're teaching your people and people you are learning that you have to do consistently, constantly, or else there's a consequence. And I don't see where that aligns with my Bible. I don't see where if I rest or if I say no, I'm not called to this, or this isn't my ministry, that I should be ostracized, ridiculed, or dismissed from the church. Like my Bible ain't showing me that. I just don't see it. And I think that mental health, conversations like this and mental health theology, looking at scripture, looking at what God is calling us to do, is imperative during this time, because we cannot continue being the church that weaponize and manipulate scripture in a way that is harming our people and making them second guess who they are, second guessing who God called and want them to be. Second guessing, not even second guessing, not knowing the true character of God. Because we are, when I say we are, I want to be very inclusive when it comes to the black church, but we are misrepresenting who God says he is. We are misrepresenting his character. I don't know why I did this. I want to put on some lashes, I think. And the last thing I'm going to say is that sometimes I I read Daniel in the lion's den, and he actually rested in the lion's den. People believe in order to rest, it has to be absolutely silent or like no chaos around. Even when Jesus was on the ship, he went to sleep and there was a storm going out and he was able to sleep. He was able to rest. And everybody else was worrying like, how can you sleep? And the storm is like waving the boat. It's a storm out here. How can you sleep? And he's like, I'm not. He wasn't worried. Rest does not require not being in chaos or not being in the middle of a storm. Rest requires you to feel safe and to trust in your Creator that even in the storm, even in the chaos, you're still okay because he's still on the throne and he has you. Even in this economic, political climate, he's still on the throne and he has you. So you can rest assured. Not that you can stop working, but you can rest in the fact that while you are doing the work, while you are keeping the faith, while you are advocating for everyone else, Jesus and God is also advocating for you. You can rest in that. Y'all, if y'all love the video, if y'all like the video, if y'all want to know more, if y'all want to talk about mental health stuff in general, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And like the video, comment. I do talk back. And stay tuned for part 4 of the Rest series.